All right. Looks like it's working finally.
Yep, there it is. And I got a YouTube notification.
Wow, that's surprising. All right.
I be feeling so robbed sometimes with that. I'm just like, dog, like
Yeah.
the one of the channels I probably have like the most hours in, you don't give me
Mm-hmm.
notifications for. Like what?
Yeah. It's super frustrating.
What logic is that?
Yeah. All right. It's all working. All right. Hello, Caleb. Um.
Hi, Caleb.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what the fuck is going on with my PC slash YouTube and all that shit. Just
All right. I
loving
can
trying to fuck me.
I can sprint.
That's a good sign.
Fine.
Uh oh.
I can stomp.
Ah. I think we gotta go this way. Oh,
I
and
can I can float.
there you go. That's pretty much everything you need.
Everything we need.
I'm gonna share this over to the Discord though. So hopefully I don't suffocate in the next 200 seconds.
Well, if you suffocate, I suffocate. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, wait. How do I have so much more time than you though? Wait, what? Oh, wait. I got the upgrade. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Alright, here we go.
I wonder if this is how Shepard felt when he got blasted from his ship in Mass Effect 2. Granted, he died when that happened, but whatever.
He
Sorry
didn't
for
have
anyone.
the cool breathing apparatus and everything.
No, no.
Damn.
Sorry for anyone that got spoiled there, but you had many years to figure that out. So
Oh, fuck. I forgot about the mines.
don't worry, I've been popping them. Ugh.
Hmm. Is there a dog or something? Oh, that's a nasty floating thing.
Nasty floaty thing.
I think it set us back quite a bit. So, that sucks. Maybe not too far, but far enough.
Don't worry, bro. I'm keeping the mines off you.
I'm trying to remember all the buttons. Oh, I think we just gotta go back now. Yeah.
Ugly.
Oh, Jesus. It's hard to
We
tell if they're.
messaged you at the same time like that.
It's just hard to tell if they're like dying.
Right.
Because those ones just lay down for a second and it's weird.
Right. It looked like it slightly morphed or something, and then I
Yeah.
don't know.
Alright.
How do I grab it again?
Uh, use your kinesis thing if you can remember how to do that. And then press the action button.
Let's see. Pressing everything to figure that out
So
again.
aim at it first. And then press.
Oh,
There
there
you
it
go.
is.
Yeah, Caleb, when you going back to Texas this time? Now that you're stuck in Oklahoma. That's always it's always fun being stuck somewhere you don't want to fucking be for weeks on end.
Oklahoma.
It's just okay. Oh, I guess we still have to be here. What did I miss?
Yeah,
What the
what did
fuck?
you miss, welder?
Apparently we missed something over here. I already did this though. Are we in like a hell loop now?
Oh god. We are in the vastness of space. Therefore, I guess this kind of is an infinite hell loop.
We did do this already. Like, we definitely did, and it's no longer there for me to grab, so it might be another case of the oopsie doopsies. I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm just gonna
Oh, fucking me catching the thing when it wasn't supposed to be
yeah.
caught.
Apparently.
Inhuman reactions. Not gonna lie, that would probably sound pretty funny in Donald Trump's voice.
Inhuman reactions.
I'd let Donald Trump be my COD commentator.
They say this phase optic guy, he's a quick scoper.
Tremendous.
You've never seen quick scope so quick.
Oh, that sounds like right behind me. Oh,
It's telling me to go back to this fucking thing again. I really hope this save isn't just completely fucking broken. Maybe we just gotta oh, wait. I think I know, because you grabbed a third one last time while I grabbed the two of them. So maybe we just gotta grab 3 and we only grabbed 2 last time. Or this last time.
gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that sounds like a mine.
Oh, I found one over here.
There you go. Yep, that's what it was. Oh, fuck. I just tackled a mine head on.
Damn. So do these things just like automatically die or something? Because I haven't shot a single one. I'm just seeing them float off into space.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not supposed to. Maybe it's the mines hitting them or something. I shot one of them, but
Yeah, look at that one. That one just floated off like instantly. Yeah.
Well.
Oh, because I got off of a platform weird. Now I'm flying at like a weird angle.
I think there's a button to realign yourself.
Oh, there we go. You're right. It's Z.
There you go.
That was very like not fun for my brain.
I gotta figure out what the fuck it is for me. I'm so confused. Oh, here we go.
I think that would definitely be like my most like horrifying thing of being an astronaut. Just being like world and not fully knowing how to get myself like back to my own up and down.
Yeah. Just losing complete understanding of orientation.
Right. Just like, how do I realign myself?
Yeah, I think it would be the worst. The worst thing possible is just losing grip and just drifting off into the distance. Because there ain't really shit you can do.
Right? You have no choice against physics, son.
I think we didn't get any new suit stuff.
No.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I think we did check over here when we came in last time. I mean, hey man, just go ahead and play through all the Mass Effects and get this sweet suit.
Yeah.
I don't know which Mass Effect I got it from, so that's why I'm telling you to play them all.
I
Might get
supposedly
three.
got something for playing Dead Space 2, but I didn't see it. I'm assuming it's a, what's it called?
Oh, okay, that's how you roll. That's important.
I'm assuming the thing I got for Dead Space 2 is just like a blueprint or something, but I'd have to still construct it, which sucks.
Oh boy.
Waiting. I think this is where we're going. Oh no, we aren't going this way.
I forgot how to crouch.
Uh, try control.
That's just
Hold
that's-
control, maybe?
yeah. I just tried that. Oh, yeah. Huh. What
C?
is it? It was so easy last time.
Is it C? Oh, that's how you tell where you're going.
Oh,
What is it?
why did I press everything but X? I pressed all the buttons around X. I'm so mad at myself.
Well, Bubby, I think that's really the best way to do it. You just sit at work listening to my stream. It helps your productivity, right? That's what you can tell your boss.
Honestly, like that's kind of what I like. Like I'll just be sitting here like playing other games while listening to it, and then once I hear some whack shit, that's when I come back, like check in. You know, look for a couple no nos here and there.
Yeah. Wait, I don't want that in there.
To let you know Neko know I'm watching him.
Here we go. Alright. I think we got something out of it, I just don't know what.
No, Robert.
We can't take him on, but Isaac can.
So is dude gonna call you back on your personal line and says that he cucked you?
I hope not. That was embarrassing. Didn't enjoy it.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Real. Well, at least you're Isaac. That way you get the exclusive content that I can't hear. I'm just a figment of your imagination.
Maybe they'll call you and let you know that they want you to pop me or something. Who knows?
Oh God, that sounds like the ending to A Way Out. Yeah, sorry to spoil it for anyone on that one, but at the end of the game, you pretty much just fight the person you've been playing the game with the whole time.
Yeah. Just for anybody who planned on still playing A Way Out.
Right. Yeah. Once again, you had plenty of time, but you know.
Yeah, just stick it out, Caleb. You'll be fine. It's a temporary thing. All right. 17.1 meters this way, apparently. Oh, we can land here, so obviously we go inside.
Remember, Draven, no Russian,
No necromorphs.
no neckies. That doesn't count as you going through the door first. Oh.
The oxygen. Yeah, I suppose my eyes would look like look like I had never slept if I had gone through a combined like fucking 20 days of being on spaceships with monsters. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Oh. It's not going in.
And then you just press and hold the kinesis button. There you go.
And that's how you put it in chat. What's up, bitch? Oh, I can't shoot him.
Can't blow his brains out right in the spaceship and have everybody go, "Oh, what the fuck?"
What the fuck?
Bro! Jesus Christ.
What is wrong with you? Wow. A booty mini game to pass the time.
Wait, what do you get to do?
I'm on a turret,
Oh, you get to shoot the mines?
I guess.
Oh, man.
Top tier gameplay right
Oh,
here.
God. I have to fucking steer. Uh-oh.
Top tier gameplay.
Well, at least you get to shoot shit.
I'm playing a damn arcade game.
Oh, fuck.
Oh god.
I looked away for a second. Oh, God.
How am I supposed to handle these mines when they go off screen? Like, what?
Just hope. That's about it.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Oh my god.
That's
oh
a
my
lot.
God. Oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
At least I think you get auto lock of some sort.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Oh boy. Why are the necromorphs sending space debris at us?
That's a good ass question. I didn't know they had that kind of power. It's
Well,
it's like they're force sensitive.
yeah. Oh shit.
Oh god.
Oh god. Oh lord. Oh, I fucked up. I think. We might have done it. Oh fuck. I couldn't.
That wasn't fair. That was not fair. That was cheap. The game literally ran us into that one.
I was like, there's no way I can dodge that. Oh god.
Why am I even shooting? We're just running through shit, apparently. Like, that's just what this is now.
Like, I don't know if I can dodge some of this shit. Uh-oh. Did you just fall out?
No, I'm on the other side of you.
Oh, okay. It's like that man just got ripped out the fucking
Gone
out the ship.
forever.
Oh boy.
Did you just get up?
Yeah. I don't know what they want me to do.
I'm still on the fucking turret.
I think I'm fixing the oxygen tanks. Fixing
Wait.
them.
I think I'm flying and shooting. Yep, that's what I'm doing.
The sound just went out for me. Oh god.
Oh god, so much debris. Oh
It
god.
it clicked out of the game.
No.
Oh, Robert's dead. Oh my god.
Jesus.
His fucking face got ripped off.
I don't even know why she was trying to help him.
I don't think she was. I think she just threw him out the seat.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, that was raps.
That's kind of even crazier. She's like... She didn't give a fuck about dude. Oh god. Well, weren't shit I could do about that one. Oh boy.
Raven, I don't know if you can tell, but we have 2 check engine lights on, just so you know.
That's it.
We should probably take this thing to Valvoline and get this checked out.
Get the oil checked.
Yeah, get that checked out, man. I think we got some bad oil.
Caleb says, imagine this game as a game at Chuck E. Cheese.
Bye.
He just smiled at the camera.
He's like, yes, all the people that needed to die have died.
Oh god, we're landing on Simp Island. That's no good.
Oh, that's the worst vacation ever.
Bro really just looks like a dead body. I don't know what the fuck happened, by the way. It just like clicked me out of the game in the middle of that flight. I was like, what the fuck? I can't control this. Uh-oh. Suit is broken. What's weird is I remember that spaceship section being like way fucking shorter. Oh, you're here.
Yeah, I'm right behind you. I've been here the whole time.
Damn, bro.
Totally not figment of imagination.
Well, at least your suit works.
Shit, I'm still cold.
Ali!
If I set myself on fire, would that keep me warm?
The fire will keep you warm.
But yes, should I set myself on fire? I feel like that'd be very effective.
Oh no. From what I know about from materials, that seems like a bad idea.
I gotta say, what else is a bad idea is the fact that you ain't put your helmet on yet.
Yeah, I can't put it on. It's broken.
That's unfortunate. I know your face feeling all types of bad right now.
It's like walking on the cold streets of Milwaukee in the middle of winter.
Like, bro, you don't even got a hat.
Oh shit.
And you didn't even have a hook.
Oh.
Bro, that's all types of concussions.
I just landed. Oh, fuck. I landed with my face in the snow.
Right.
You know how much that would fucking hurt?
Got a bloody nose and all.
Wait, was that something back there? Yeah, there is. Oh fuck, we're at 33 Celsius apparently. Trying to think what that temperature would be. It's like, I don't know, it's like, what is that, negative, no. No, 33 Celsius is way the fuck up there. Is that our body temperature, maybe?
I think it was talking about body temp.
It must be, because, like, but even then, if your body temperature got this low, you'd damn near be dead anyway.
Yeah, like...
I'm gonna set that down.
It's like 90-something degrees in Fahrenheit?
Yeah, because your body temp is 98.6 Fahrenheit, and 30-something Celsius would be about 90 degrees, I think, so.
I don't know, man. Ever since they took out German for us when
Yeah.
it came to math. It ruined my perfect metric system.
I,
Like,
I'll say the only oh
oh,
oh God, Ellie.
oh, thank God. Oh, Isaac, you, you toxic bitch. But I ain't mad at you.
um no, but personally, I think Fahrenheit is the only system that makes it's not that it makes more sense, but it works better
Yeah,
than Celsius.
I like it, and it like the numbers like from high to low
Oh,
definitely make more sense to me.
yeah, exactly. And it's more precise.
Yeah.
Ooga chaka fire warm.
What are we playing? Conan Exiles?
We're cavemen in space. Body temp.
Come this way. She crashed this way.
Well, her body wasn't there in the spaceship.
True, 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 true.
Well, we don't go down there.
Oh yeah, I totally did just graze past the fact that we just like got startled by a giant monster.
Yeah, yeah. That happened.
Because we were talking about, math.
Spider-Man. It's Man Spider.
Oh, I'm getting cold.
Oh yeah. That's alright though. We found a building.
Yay.
Can't say it's safe. Oh, it seems like it is.
It has an engine. And you have an engine brain. You
Yeah.
can meld with it.
Oh, I gotta keep tapping.
Ah,
Huh.
that's not very cash money.
Bolus gun. Bola's gun. Ah.
Oh, so it's arc now. We can shoot bolas.
Yeah.
So we can capture and tame the Spider-Man. Tame me, the Spider-Man.
Well, Ellie appears to be alive. See? Negative Nancy here telling me that it's impossible. You don't know what you're talking about, Negative Nancy.
Listen. Listen. You shouldn't like her anyway. I understand that was your main hoe. But listen,
Clearly toxic.
these hoes ain't loyal, and you know this.
Oh.
You saw this.
We can get a planet cracker plasma cutter. That sounds terrifying.
I need more tungsten.
Damn.
Damn, that's a lot of tungsten.
I just don't know what I want to make. Because well, to be fair, we haven't even I feel like we're still barely into the game, which is crazy.
Right. We haven't even reached like mid-game type deal.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're at 7 out of, I think, 19 or something like that.
I think it was like 22 when I looked it up.
Yeah, something like that. So it's just like, we've got a ways to go still. It's the journey of of the Chad militaryman and the simp engineer. That's all this game is. Welcome to 2020.
Okay, so Dead Space 3, 19, Dead Space 3 Awakened.
Yeah.
3 chapters.
Yeah. The Awakened stuff I think is like $8 for the DLC. So I don't know. I've never played it, so I wouldn't know whether it's worth it or not.
Right.
We'd have to look, but yeah.
Oh. Well, do you have it through Origin or did you buy it?
I have it through Origin.
Okay, because I was gonna check and see like if it maybe came with Premiere.
Yeah, that I just don't think it did, cause I mean unless it's like in a separate section.
Because I just know with a lot of the Origin games, they tend to give you like everything with it.
Yeah, that's the case with I think Dead Space 2. Oh shit.
I go do the exact same motions. God damn it, Clark, are you alright?
You're angry at me every time a spider attacks us. For no fucking reason. Oh boy.
I'm angry at you because we're looking for this hoe. I gotta say, y'all are very ugly.
Oh.
Oh.
We really,
Shotgun's loyal.
yeah, we really are just running around with shotguns, and I've got a fucking double barrel that I gotta pump every time I want to shoot one shot.
Yeah.
I might die soon. My body temp is dropping fast.
Mine too.
Oh fuck, did I just come up here for an artifact and that's it?
Oh no.
We should be good. We just gotta... If there's a fire around, maybe.
When the suit is frosting.
It doesn't show us where to go. Do we gotta go here? Oh fuck. We must.
There's a creature, so maybe.
Uh-oh.
This isn't good.
Well, we can run back. Just quick go back to the other place, I guess. Oh wait, is that it? No, it's not. Yeah, let's just run back to the other place for a second. So we don't die. If
Dude,
we can.
You damn near be dead. Already dead at this point.
Yeah.
For this low.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's just like a outer body temp, not core.
Yeah.
Because if it was core, you'd be fucked.
I was saying, you're
yeah.
already fucked. You're not coming back from this.
Yeah. Bro, what the fuck is with this elevator?
Come on, bro.
Oh my god.
Yo. Yo.
Holy shit. Alright. Well.
That was not very cash money.
No, it was not.
Alright, speed run.
But Neko, if you go to the Wuhan Dark Zone, you can't bring anything back.
There's no helicopter to extract. Like,
unless you boil all that shit.
right. boil it, then put it under a UV light.
Yeah.
Throw some bleach on it.
It doesn't show us where we gotta go, I don't think.
Yeah, I kept looking at that, and it definitely wasn't giving any type of help.
Well, I assume we go this way. Oh, yeah.
There's creatures. Sit down. Ah! Oh my god, that scared me. I should have known. I really should have known.
Well, if we would have just come this way, we probably would have been safe, but...
You know...
Oh. I got a new scav bot. The fuck?
It says equip scap. Wait, did I not have it equipped? How do I not
Yeah,
have it?
you did.
Oh, there we go. Oh, so he's got a second one.
I guess. That's weird. Huh. I'm gonna keep the shoddy out just in case.
As much as I love the scav bot, I love my life too.
Oh boy.
Y'all can keep running all y'all want. this ain't nothing. No comp.
Oh. Yeah, I'm just gonna let him out here. There you go, little buddy. He'll find it.
Yep, here it is.
Fuck are we supposed to go? Oh, there's a building. Neko says I'll wipe off the green slime or die of infection. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
He came out the wall.
We gotta get to cover. Oh fuck. Uh-oh. This could be bad.
Oh.
What?
Ow.
What happened?
I had to reload.
Oh shit. I didn't even see him.
Yeah, that's what I was ready. I was like, oh no.
Remember to heal if you didn't.
I don't think I really got hit like that though. I was just running because I was scared.
Hey, Tesla core.
We like those.
Yeah. Oh, we need a body. Oh, we need a snowsuit. Huh. Well.
Well, maybe if more of these buildings had them in supply, that'd be great.
Yeah. Maybe the whole base wouldn't be dead. In space.
You really just say the name of the game?
Of course. That sounds like a man. That sounds like multiple men.
Yeah, one popped up like right next to you, and then popped up next to me, and then I shot one, and then I tried to shoot the other, but you know the process.
Yeah. But then they all start jumping out of the snow, and you're shooting them in the face without asking questions. Hello.
Oh boy. Oh, you didn't do very well.
I don't think he's gonna make it.
I decided to stay behind.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Oh, he just died. Fuck, I couldn't shoot him. I was about to.
You know, besides the pain, he probably would have just fell asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Missing anything over here first? Nope.
Honestly, for all we know, he actually is just asleep right now. That's when the dying happens, of course, in the cold. But you know,
He's just gonna wake up perfectly
sure.
fine.
Yeah, I was about to say if we find some snowsuits later and bring them back to him, this is just fine. Canister recovery module. Did you pick this up?
I picked something up. Let's see. I don't see anything there, so I must have.
Okay. Just gotta make sure everybody eats.
Well, that's weird. They got like a Iraqi helmet over here. This shit looks like the OP4 helmet from COD 4. Canister recovery module, yeah. Scavbot has returned. He has brought some goods.
Test cord, canister recovery module.
Man, I don't want your fucking line guns and shit. Why are all the blueprints so expensive?
I know, right?
Like, they're stupidly expensive.
Like, why am I even here? It's like, am I a joke to you?
Oh, fuck. Now we got ones that, like, have monkey paws. +2 damage, -1 reload. +2 damage, -1 rate of fire. Oh boy.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, but it looks like the damage is, like, way more than what you lose in the rate of fire and shit. Wait. Oh well.
I just made a flamethrower.
Uh-oh. Be ready for that to kind of work.
I'm sure it won't work.
I was gonna say, at least in a Dead Space 1, it's not the best thing on earth. Oh. There's a fella just shuffling around out the window. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Didn't even attract his attention. He didn't care.
Are we looking for a gear or something? We must be, because that's what would need to be going on that thing there. I just don't know where the fuck it's supposed to be.
Oh.
Oh, did you grab it off the wall? Oh wait, I think I can just... Yeah, you can just shoot it through the window if you want to.
Oh.
I'll do that real quick. I don't know how many you needed, but... Probably just one.
Yeah, just the one wait.
Waiting for the elevator, gonna go down into a pit of despair.
Just in case.
Why'd you take your helmet off?
I don't know. Facts, Raven. Better not lose it over some girl.
Why you still sound like you got your helmet on?
Because I'm a figment of your imagination.
Oh god. They just implanted Carver into my mind. Oh, there it goes, back up. Oh. Are we... Ah, fuck!
That's fucking ugly.
It's a fucking Wendigo.
That really was a Wendigo. That was exactly what I thought.
Huh.
I was about to say, I don't want to go this way knowing that thing's on my back.
Oh.
Oh, it dropped a can.
There are bodies.
Dead bodies. Are they dead? guess it. Oh, okay. I guess it is my turn, huh? Oh, there's a group of them.
Oh, it's oh god, no. Oh my god, they're slapping the shit out of me. It's like a high school locker room.
Oh.
Remember, you can punch them back. Oh shit. Whew.
You know, I don't think I got hit once there.
They weren't very strong, that's for sure. I definitely got slapped.
That's what it seems like. That makes more sense.
It's
Very
just
thin.
Yeah, it's like getting attacked by a bunch of Corys or something.
Oh god.
Watch out to the left.
Oh.
Oh, fuck.
Ow.
Huh.
Now I'm taking damage. When there's multiple, it's different.
Oh, fuck, I started to reload like an idiot.
Oh.
Damn.
Well, at least works on them.
See, the good news is they don't have much muscle mass, so...
Right. So a punch can, you know, be detrimental.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other creatures are kind of fleshy.
I'm trying to remember the inventory. If you want some health, I've got too much.
Scoop. Scoop.
Oh boy. And I just filled it all back up again. They really need to just give us more inventory slots. Oh. Uh-oh. Someone stuffed them in the locker. Oh, yep. There's a spot right here. Oh, it's a quarantined room. You know what that means. It's got dissidents of the Chinese government in there.
Oh god.
Me first.
Okie doke.
Oh no. Oh yeah, one of these puzzles again. Alright. Hey. That one was a lot easier. I'm a little afraid of that because there's spikes on it. As if it's made to kill us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yep, that settles that.
I stasised it. We gotta go. Run, run, run.
Whoa.
Fuck.
That observation was spot on. it very much looks sus.
Okay, I think we go further. Alright, go, 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 go. Oh boy. And we gotta go through another one too. Alright, let's see. This, probably go with that. No, that's not what I wanted. And that.
see, chat. This is why you wanted Draven in your geometry class in ninth grade.
Because I've got the, some kind of, like, savant syndrome that only works sometimes. Lord almighty. Uh-oh.
Fear the flames of the Holy Maker.
Seems like it's been working okay. Oh, fuck. I'm not. No.
Oh.
Not that time. Oof.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll wait for that one to go.
That would.
There we go. It was already on its way back. I'm like, eh. If a toilet runs out of water, does it die? I think you just need to fill your toilet more, Neko. You're gonna run into problems you don't want.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a suit station.
Hey, you know, toilets are kind of smart and self-sufficient. You know, they know when they're too full. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Looks like we get snowsuit. Yep.
yeah, there it is.
Now we finally get the epic one on the cover of the screen, or the game.
Because, you know, just fuck my N7 suit.
Yep. Now you get a... I was about to say a fursuit, and then I was like, no, that's not right. That's, that's definitely not what that is.
Fuck is this Dead Space Santa Claus suit?
Oh, I can put more armor on. Yeah, I'll do that. Fuck it, I'm gonna have all of the range possible for this, for the, what's it called? Kinesis. Oh my god. You look like some kind of fucking samurai Santa. What the fuck are you?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you're the type of shit that like, they'd put in some kind of fucking, like, Japanese manga about Santa Claus really being an evil samurai from the future.
And then the mask also kind of looks like Quinn or Star-Lord.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of things going on here.
Fursuit DLC, oh god. Oh fuck. I just realized we still have to open valves. Apparently.
Like, our masks just look so different from each other.
Yeah. Hey look, I got one of the coronavirus mask things, you know what I'm talking about? Like the ones they wear in Asia. Got a little fucking medical mask. Surgical mask thing.
All the time. But you know what? Big shouts out to Asia for, you know, for doing that to not spread their sickness.
Yeah.
You know, they're actually, you know, it's pretty nice of them. Pretty nice.
Yeah. I saw some old lady fucking yelling that my sisters who live out in the country and disagree with me politically were too stupid to get face masks when I told them to. Joke's on them when they get sick. I'm like, that's not why you wear the mask.
That's not the reason.
Yeah. You're wearing it to keep other people from getting sick in the event that you would be sick without knowing it. Like, your ass ain't gonna be saved if somebody's got fucking hyper Ebola of some kind.
Right. It's like, I got news for you. It's gonna go through that plastic we got in space.
That paper fucking filter.
Right.
Your ass ain't wearing a fucking asbestos filter from World War II or some shit. Thanks for making bat soup and killing thousands of people. Ugh, I knew about bat soup like probably 2 years ago now.
It's bad bat soup.
It's I don't remember how I came across it. I think we were just looking at like weird shit like gutter oil. Oh, I think we gotta go back up. No, we gotta go through here. Huh. This is odd. But if you don't know what
Gameplay.
if you don't know what gutter oil is, that's where in like China and places like that, they specifically China and like those southeastern countries over there, they go into the gutter and scoop up oil from like essentially what amounts up to be a feces oil, and they use it to cook. It's terrible. It is the fucking most awful thing you will ever hear of. If you really think about it, my friend Joey told me about that shit, and I was like, no.
No, I thought Taiwan was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit's awful.
Because in Taiwan, they don't waste nothing.
Yeah.
Everything or anything. But at least that, like, makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like, fucking feces oil?
Yeah.
Like,
They and I think it's illegal, but they do it anyway because it's cheap. Well, because it's free.
God, that's free.
Because yeah, like what they basically do is they either go into gutters or dumpsters or sewers and they scoop out fucking oil. Yeah, like washed out oil and shit. And
So we're not eating.
nah, like you can eat in America any kind of food you want, because you know we got regulations in general.
Fucking rules.
Yeah.
That actually get, you know,
Enforced.
enforced. Yeah, because it is crazy. Because like when you got like billions of people in your country, I feel like it kind of would be hard to enforce shit at
Yeah.
some point. You know, like.
Especially if you don't give a shit.
Right. If you don't give a shit, yeah.
Man.
You just say fuck it. Oh boy.
Well, and now it turns into what's that game or that movie? The Thing. That guy's gonna get up for sure, right? Yep.
That was. That's just. It's one of those things you just know.
Yeah.
Like this is sus, and I know this is sus.
You're like one of those boxes. Okay, there it is. I was like, one of those boxes didn't seem to have anything in it. But it did, it just didn't show up. How much you want to bet something jumps out of the snow here? That looks like a fella, right? No, it's rocks. Never mind.
Just in case.
Use the force. Oh, we can use our things in here though. If it's back. Nope, it's not back.
Not back yet for me.
Son of a bitch.
Taking too damn long. Scavenger box. Fuck y'all looking for?
Finally, some good fucking food.
Oh, God.
Mmm. The flavors of dumpster and sewer laced oil. Mm.
Like I'm just like I feel like people have to like notice, right? Like I mean,
If you cook shit at a high
I
enough
know.
temperature,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
ain't gonna know shit.
And
Especially if you throw that
then dump,
MSG in there.
dump that soy sauce in that bitch.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, I play
It's got flavors of good minerals.
good minerals.
It's like Milwaukee water, where you're like thinking for decades you're just like, oh, that's just what water tastes like. It's fucking lead pipes.
You actually go somewhere that has good water and it's like, what?
Yeah. It's like, oh, we've been drinking fucking lead.
Lead and lake sewage.
Yep. Hey, it's purified. Like, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's funny because if you drink water from what is listed as the cleanest water source in the state, I just launched that box at that fella and he fell over.
That first shot was pretty in sync.
But if you drink water from there, it tastes completely fucking different. Like, it's just devoid of that mildly metallic flavor. You're like, I could drink this regularly without going, ugh.
Oh, wait. This looks like a fight, potentially. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it does. How much you want to bet Spider-Boy comes?
Ah.
Kind of looks like a Borderlands arena, right? Like, this looks like a Borderlands 2 fight setup.
Yep. This is a setup. I don't like it. Let's just hurry up and get to the door so we can avoid this fight, right? Like, or I guess the elevator.
Oh.
Okay, can we not get to the elevator? All right, let's go.
Uh-oh.
How about the door? Okay, can we get in the door?
Oh,
Oh,
there
we
it
can
is.
get in the door.
Cutscene. Listen, man. Alright, have a good one, Caleb. Have a good night. And, don't let the bed bugs turn into scary monsters and eat you.
Night, Caleb.
Wow. Imagine having to use your hands to start a generator. Pfft. Am I right?
Peasantry right there.
That's the way of the future.
Oh, the scavenger bots are back.
Oh, nice. At least one of them.
For me, it said 2. Your other one didn't return? They robbed you?
I gotta see. I didn't look yet. Oh yeah, they both did. Hey, that's... What the fuck are ration seals?
Oh, I didn't even know there was a safe.
Oh yeah. That's how you know that this is when EA started going downhill a little bit, because when you click on the blueprints that you can't craft yet, it says downloadable content. With the, if you press the Y button, you go to DLC shit.
Yep.
It's like,
Trying to fool me.
I'm not quite sure how the double shotgun makes sense, but I'm trying to understand how the mechanics of this thing would work. Suppose you're loading up there, but how does it feed into the bottom one down there? Seems like video game magic.
Magic. The Gathering.
Yu-Gi-Oh! The Magic Gathering.
We're safe. It wasn't a fight after all. Wait, oh, cutscene.
Oh, you know it.
Ah, I spoke too soon. I'm so mad. No. Help me. Oh.
Oh boy. You just get fucking slammed and like paralyzed.
We fall together. One band, one sound.
He said you look like Yoshimitsu. Blazed.
Yeah, that's accurate, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh fuck, we can shoot. Oh shit. Oh god. Oh, his arms come off easy with this shotgun. Oh fuck, that hurt. Oh man. Once you hit me once, it's not fair to hit again. There we go. His arms are blown off. Oh shit.
You got a what?
He was gonna charge, but we shot him in the face fast enough. He might charge again. Oh shit.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Rolling.
The Limp Bizkit mix you've never heard. Oh god.
Good roll. Good barrel roll.
God damn it. Fucking Christ, he's beating my ass into a corner. I can't do anything. There we go. Now he's gonna try to charge. Hey. I think we can only do damage to his yellow parts. Oh, he's running. Man, why your guy want him to come back?
Because we wasn't finished.
It's like, bro, just let him go. I think we go up this side. It wouldn't let me up for a second.
You sound so high. You sound so excited to hear your whole voice again. Yeah. We'll get there as fast as we can, huh?
As fast as humanly possible. As fast as simply possible. What's up here? Something's up here, right? They wouldn't just put that there for no reason. Hello. Pulse rifle. Yeah, I was gonna say, the way that it like kind of just like zoops you into the end of cutscenes and shit.
Right.
It's better than what Resident Evil 6 does when you're playing as Ada Wong, because if you do co-op for that one, it's clear that that one wasn't supposed to be co-op at first, because they just make the other guy like a random Umbrella soldier who literally just teleports next to her every time she does something. Like, so she'll just zipline somewhere and then he's just like right next to her all of a sudden. He just disappears and shows up. It's the funniest shit. And he never talks.
When you don't have a true purpose.
I hear a scav thing. Over here. Oh, right here. Snap that child's back, goldfish. I don't.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that is definitely a misheard lyric. That'd be terrifying. uh, snap that child's back, goldfish. Oh boy. Oh fuck, he's still alive? I thought he got his face caved in.
Oh yeah, I guess it was the wrong dude.
What the fuck? Like, bro, bro, the alternative is he's dead. Why are you so upset? What the fuck? You're happy that that guy's not dead? Kind of shit is this?
Fuck is this, bro? Listen, Draven. I mean, there's only so much poom poom in the universe. So, you know, gotta get a little territorial.
Has that lady been on the ship the whole time?
Yeah.
Was she? Was she one of the ones that ran off when we went the other way and told them that to go blah blah, and we just ran off and grabbed the suit?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, then I remember. I just didn't see her in the ship when we were falling from the sky.
Right? Yeah. It's like, where were you when we were falling from the sky?
Where were you?
When the great crash happened.
Oh, apparently we need a torque bar to do that. You know what? I'm feeling adventurous. Maybe I'll make one. Apparently, okay, there we go. Looks like he's wearing eyeshadow. Isaac has an iron deficiency anemia. That makes sense. He's probably got some fucked up disease after all this blood has been on him.
Oh yeah, Draven, show the stream these cuties over here. Somebody's been getting busy in their locker over here. I see.
1 second. Tungsten torque bar. Let me make one real quick.
And Stalin.
Stalin? Stalin in space?
Stalin in space.
Wait, where?
Almost.
Oh. It looks like a fucked up version of Tony Stark's dad in a...
Yeah, low-key.
That looks like fucking Eisenhower or something.
And then you gotta show the chat the babes.
These ones, though? Where are they at?
The babes in locker 2.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Demonetized.
We have lady in swimsuit. That guy's just been beating his meat for like 20 years on this fucking space station.
Oh god, no.
Till one picture. Oh yeah, I got a torque bar. We can open this door if we want.
That is very much against factory code.
Come on, I've been doing it in the bathroom. I like the idea that makes the difference when you're jerking off at work. I've been doing it in the bathroom, come on.
Does not matter, good sir.
This feels like a waste of a tungsten torque bar.
This was not very cash money. This was a whole bunch of materials.
Yeah. The somatic gel thing, I feel like, is the same shit that's in what's that game? The Evil Within.
Oh, I forgot about that game.
That's another game that I own both of, but I haven't played through either. Nothing motivates soldiers like pinup girls. Yeah, I just like to imagine that nowadays, if we go to war, instead of, you know, pinup girls from like the 1940s shit on planes, they're just gonna like paint the fucking Ahegao face on their on their F-22 Raptor.
There will be hentai babes on my plane.
If only to shitpost at the other team. The other
the other team.
The enemies. Yeah. Hey, the way I see it, that unless we're fighting terrorists or something.
When war is a team game.
Yeah.
The team game. That's all it is. God.
They might not be bad people. They might just be. Oh, we're back against. Bro, it won't let me crouch.
Wait, but I've been having guns made for creatures, not people that shoot.
I was gonna say, we got this at least, right?
Hey, why are you running up so deep?
He definitely is. He might have a shotgun or something. Keep them fuckers back. They all did.
Double tap to roll, but that's a lie. I know that.
It's double tap for controller for sure. Sorry about that.
Draven right here for the scavenger bot.
Boop.
After we kill soldiers, always think of the scavenger bots. Always gotta keep them in mind. Always gotta keep them busy.
Hey, if we stop the soldiers, we get stuff.
That's a shame that his leg had to come off for me to get that.
Listen, it's either your corpse being desecrated or me, so you know.
Fair enough.
So now we're fighting cultists in space.
I forgot that there was a cult.
Imagine getting bombed and the last thing you see is a hentai babe on a missile. That sounds awful. What's worse is imagine getting hit by the Slapshot missile. That's the worst thing.
I think I'd feel pretty disrespected if I got, you know, fucked up by like a dude with like a lolly on the side of his plane.
Oh yeah, well that's just.
I'd feel mighty disrespected.
You got killed by a man with some real fucked up morals.
Yeah, like,
like
I'd be pretty hurt.
It's like, bro.
You know what you're doing.
I've got to go to heaven now, right?
At least I'm not this guy. I gotta go to heaven.
Oh God. Oh Jesus. He's got a shotgun or something.
Oh yeah.
He stood back up after taking that one to the chest.
Oh yes, creatures, fight for us.
Oh boy.
And then throw up and spread your corona.
The enemy of my enemy. We have to work with the necromorphs. Oh God, he's got a grenade.
Hit him! Beat his ass!
I'm trying.
Beat his ass!
Oh my God.
I got him.
Jesus Christ. Why'd you have to beat him to death like that? It's kind of fucked up.
It's war.
War has changed. Oh, I'm out of heals all of a sudden. Wow.
That's not good.
I
I'll share.
should be
I
good.
got heals. No, you're not good. You're not okay.
Oh. R.I.P.
take my stuff.
No. Fuck, he paused the game on me.
Stop worrying about Ellie, bro. They're after Isaac.
This guy's an asshole. They're not just after me. Like,
This guy's trash.
like, why would you assume that they're only after me?
They're after Isaac, and we're caught in the crossfire. You gotta love it. Bro, he really just put disrespect on your name. I'm just saying.
Well, now you see why we gotta murder him, right?
They're after Isaac.
Bro, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Bro, stop lying, dude.
Pneumatic torch, that's, I'm guessing, the flamethrower.
You're just saying that to make yourself seem cool in front of Ellie.
Craft new thing. What is this? Oh. There's an attachment we can put on our stuff that lights things on fire too. Did you already have that? Or no?
I know we just got something new. Maybe it's that.
Hmm. It's called Flame Glaze. I think we have to make it, but it only seems to be on the flamethrower though, which is weird.
Oh, dude, hurry up, Isaac. This is your fault that we're even here.
Increases radius of explosions. Why would I want to do that on a shotgun? Unless it's got explosive ammo, which then would be cool.
That would be pretty cool.
That's too much money. Alright. It burns the creme brulee. Oh boy. This thing looks fucking crazy now. It just looks like a fucking staple gun.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was this way.
But
Okay.
that adds to the threat. And what's better than threat?
Not much, if we're gonna be honest. It's weird that I gotta like, oh shit. Oh, the guys died of fire very quickly compared to what I thought. Kind of fucked up.
Came up out the ground. Get away.
Wow, what a fucking dummy.
Ah. Oh, there you are.
Ah. Flamethrower's got a lot more range than I thought.
Yeah.
Damn it. Damn it. Trying to pick up the ammo and I'm picking up a fucking arm. Alright, well we can go left to see what's over here, I guess, because... Oh, sounds like a scav bot area.
Yep.
Guessing it's guarded.
I think both my scout bots are.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, both mine are out.
Damn. It's a massacre. Sometimes you gotta light people on fire and shoot them in the face.
Sometimes you have to show them the holy fire of the First Order.
Yeah. we are just, well, he is just a space marine. And I am just a lowly space engineer. A religious fanatic space engineer. Alright, let's see. Alright, back up here. The tunnel. He's in the tunnel. Uh-oh. Not today. Damn. He blew the fuck up.
Feels a holy fire here.
It's crazy that we could just like light him on fire and his head explodes.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah, we're just boiling his head until it blows up.
Well, I guess with like maybe all the piping that goes with these damn
yeah,
suits,
that's a good
maybe,
point.
you know?
Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Fucking overheating, like fucking like oxygen tanks or CO2 or something. I don't know, man. Like, we're overheating something, I guess.
Oh shit! What the fuck? Oh,
Ow, another one!
it made it look like you hit me. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Why did two drop in? Ow!
I only see one.
A second one dropped in right afterwards. At least for me.
Not taking that chance.
Just in case.
Just, you see security camera video of us just walking around burning the bodies.
Kicking and burning bodies. First you kick it to see if it's alive, then you burn it to, you know, send it to our holy savior for judgment.
Oh, Hammond's heavy frame. Oh shit, Hammond's the guy from the first game. If you, I don't know if it's still on your screen, but it would be over there.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Or I got
it when I grabbed it? Okay. Yeah. But Hammond's the dude that, that is actually a good guy that you go to the ship with. Oh god. I am very close to dying.
Ow. Feel the holy fire.
Shoot him in the fucking face.
The crusade will not end.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus.
I burned the Draven, I burned them all.
We're fighting the fucking Viet Cong.
My health.
Can you heal? There you go, yeah.
It was on a sliver.
Oh boy.
You know, taking the shotgun to the face was not. It wasn't a good.
Yeah,
it wasn't a move.
it's never an appealing situation. We're getting slaughtered here. We need reinforcements. Oh. Uh-oh. A parasitic head just took his body.
They can shoot.
But we can flame on.
Flame on.
Oh, that sounds like another one. Make sure you stomp the bodies so they can't take them. Huh. That is a frozen monster.
I want to fight it.
Uh-oh.
Everyone gets burned.
Oh fuck.
Oh god, oh god.
Ow! Oh no, they're getting back up. Whew.
Wow.
That was a lot of shit. Oh, that looks like... Oh, this is definitely side mission shit. Because we both gotta activate at the same time. Oh, it's one of the goofy-ass little puzzles, I think. Oh, shit!
I knew I heard something.
Yeah, I was like, what is this fucking music?
Oh, its body completely disappeared. I didn't know did we use that much fire?
Apparently. Roast some marshmallows.
Oh, whoops. Oh, activate. There we go. Okay. Oh.
Whew.
Oh, that was a close one.
Oh, something was coming. But it don't matter now.
Honestly, I heard like a little squishy sound. So.
Yeah. What is this? Telemetry spike. So that, I think, would be like the javelin gun. Oh, nice. I probably shouldn't have started that yet, but...
That sounded loud.
Attention all hands. Obstruction detected.
Oh, both of them returned.
Clear to resume drilling.
Okay, hurry up and get through the screen. Okay, let me out.
You should be good. We can...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dabble.
Yeah. Built-in upgrades, upper circuits 3? Okay. What do we want to put in it, though? Probably put a military engine. Yeah. What do we want on the upper?
See that chat? The man with the engine brain loves engines.
Fully automatic rifle with deadly precision. That sounds basically like a pulse rifle. What's a precision tip, though? Oh, sniper rifle.
Oh.
Huh. Oh, but the repeater, which... Okay, the repeater would turn it into the pulse rifle from the other games. Which is like... It's good, but it looks like it's weak. I'm trying to figure out what the difference between that and a rail accelerator is, though. It just looks like it's... Oh, it's got lower fire rate, but but it's stronger.
Strong.
Yeah, fuck it, we'll go with that. Looks like we can't put a lower tool on this frame, though. So. Increases weapon damage for self and partner. Electrifies projectiles to cause small amounts of voltaic damage. That sounds good. Oh, acid damage. Can be some real bastards. Oh, first let's see. Upgrades. +1 reload, +1 that. Oh, here's what I'll do. I'll put that there. I'm gonna go into the pistol one and take some of the stuff off of there, I guess. There it is. Ah, fuck. Well.
What even is the Shamrock Shake?
Well, what do you mean? Is it a weapon or something?
No. I'm looking at Uber Eats on McDonald's and I'm wondering what it's.
Oh, you don't know what the Shamrock Shake is? That's the that's like the shit they come out with for St. Patrick's Day. It's just a mint shake.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I know like it's for like I know it's usually like
Yeah.
comes out every year as a theme. I just didn't know like what the actual like
Yeah.
flavor was. Like
It's just mint.
oh,
Like
so,
yeah, so yeah.
toothpaste shake.
It's like if you've ever had like mint chocolate chip ice cream, that's what it's like. I mean, it's okay, but I would only eat mint chocolate chip ice cream as ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't eat it as a fucking shake.
Right.
So, yeah.
Valid. Hella valid. Learn something new every day.
This thing's gonna be strong as a bitch.
The one you're making.
Yep. And then I think I'm gonna trade out the lower body on the shotgun and put the blowtorch on it instead. Shamrock Shake is Shrek cum. That's direct from Neko himself. You have him to thank for that quote.
Neko. No.
What the fuck? Bro,
What?
on the flamethrower, if you put a precision tip on it, it turns it into a cryogenic torch that freezes its targets. That is weird.
What? That sounds weird as fuck.
If you put the compressor on it, it turns it into a close range one, but it's like a quarter more strong. I don't know how necessary that is. Low-key, I just want to freeze shit now. I want to see what that does.
I just want to freeze shit now. Yeah.
Fuck it. We're gonna have a freezing shotgun. That sounds like a good fucking combo, if I'm gonna be honest.
Deadly.
Alright. I've got the guns. I can freeze off any warts you might have.
That sounds like a pretty good deal, actually.
Oh. We're gonna have to turn these things.
Oh.
Yeah.
whoops.
I was like, is he going? I couldn't tell.
Oh, whoops.
You done did it. Uh-oh. Oh shit. Yeah. It was a good idea to freeze it. Oh boy.
There was purpose.
Oh fuck. Oh
Feel
god.
the holy fire.
I could never tell if it's like coming back towards us.
It's moving slow enough where it's big where you can't tell.
Yeah. And the lighting is like fucking me up.
Alright, now that's definitely coming towards us. That is definitely
Woo!
getting close.
You're gonna stand there. You're not gonna like what happens. Oh fuck.
Oh god.
Ah! Is there anything in particular? Oh, I think, yeah, we gotta shoot in between. We gotta shoot that core. Oh fuck.
Should we make it angry?
Huh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh shit, we just made a dubstep show. Oh shit. Oh shit. We gotta do that 2 more times. Oh fuck.
Ow.
Abandon drill. Abandon drill.
Oh boy. I think we did it.
You love to see. I'm also highly confused and scared.
Skrillex is in the middle.
Fuck this planet. Come on, let's get out of here.
Come on.
Okay, Ellie.
Make sure you pick up all the somatic gel and whatnot.
Is everything okay?
Oh yeah. Between this planet trying to kill us, your boyfriend hating me, this has been a wonderful trip so far.
Your boyfriend.
I don't know why.
Just let us fight it out, okay? One of us will win eventually. Did you find the experiment?
What kind of cock shit was that?
Yeah.
Oh good.
Just let me fuck. I'll kill him.
That's essentially what that was.
Just let us fight it out. I'll shoot him.
I'll shoot him in the name of love. I'll blow his brains out.
It's like, oh, okay.
If you say so. She just goes like, what does that mean?
It's like, nothing. Don't.
don't worry yourself about it.
Oh, we
It's
got a
not
thing
that-
over
it's not
here.
that bad.
It's no big deal.
Ah, it's no biggie.
Alright, the freezy thing worked pretty cool. The other one also worked pretty good, surprisingly. Anything over here? Of course there is.
There's always stoof.
You've seen Skrillex a couple times? How long ago was that? Does he still do anything? 'Cause last I saw he was like doing like fucking regular electronic music because dubstep like fucking died.
Yeah, I was about to say, does anyone in like who still do anything? Like,
Yeah. Whatever happened to LMFAO?
oh god.
Oh, I can make Mjolnir now, apparently. An advanced chain lightning gun and hydraulic hammer.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Can also make the Bola's gun, but that seems unnecessary.
Medic support hand. Dick.
I just fucking shoot him. The 2011 to 2015 peak dubstep years. Yeah. Yeah. I think the last time I heard any was like, yeah, it'd have to be around 2015. It was weird because Korn started doing weird dubstep shit with Skrillex and stuff, and I was like, why? Why now? Dude, I saw a fucking movie recently with a dubstep sequence. it had the fucking Run song. It was weird. It was the whatever the new one on Netflix, the new Netflix original with fucking what's his name? Deadpool man, Ryan
Oh,
Ryan Reynolds.
yep.
Yeah. It was one with him, and it was like a new movie, and it just had a fucking sequence with Run in it, and I was like, why? I mean, it was a decent movie. I enjoyed it, but I just didn't understand why the fuck they had a dubstep sequence. I love how these ones we have to use separately, but the bench we can use together. Was there a new suit in there?
Yeah, it said archaeologist suit.
Oh. Oh, yep. You look more chunky now. Well, you basically look like me now.
Yeah.
You are me. What the fuck? Are we just gonna trade suits? And call them something different? Let's see. Archaeology suit.
Sounds like EA.
Let's see. Am I just gonna
like-
look the same?
It's like, let's make them think they're gonna get something. Or it's like they are getting something different. You know, they're different characters.
Yeah.
They got different things.
They're just swapping. I swear this is the same thing.
Oh my god, wait. I can't wait for this reveal.
It's the same
Oh.
thing.
They're the same thing. What the fuck?
Oh wait, no, whoops, I clicked the fucking Arctic survival suit.
Oh, okay, I was about
Okay.
to say.
We are swapping suits though, I just looked at it.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh my god, dude. What the fuck?
watch. It's the suit you just had on, but it's fucking blue instead of red. Oh, blue lights with gold though. That's an odd choice.
Wow, dude. Wow, dude.
I mean, I don't mind it. I like the way it looks, I guess.
Wow,
It's a very odd choice to just swap them.
Wow. You gotta love it.
Like, we might as well have just been the same suit then for each
Like just
time.
from the jump.
Yeah. Alright. Would you switch back to the snowsuit?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're now both Yoshimitsu clones. I'm like the alt skin.
Yoshimitsu clone / Star Killer. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Star Lord.
Yeah, Star Killer is Force Unleashed.
Right. Getting my game mixed up. Whew. Too much Disney in my life.
Yeah. Disney. God. And we're back in the cold.
Fight? Fight? Fight?
It looks like it. Oh, we got something here. Oh. Something happened. What the fuck is happening? Oh shit. It's like, what the fuck is this noise?
Oh, it got right back up. Damn. Scavenger bot. What you want? Priorities. Oh. Fuck me, right?
Yeah, they ain't making it out of this. I'll freeze them and you light them on fire.
They won't be able to handle the temperature change. So much bacteria.
We'll just hit them both with the same time. What is this? I think it goes over there.
Wow, rabbit. Ladder.
Right.
I am struggling to walk up here.
Bro, if we couldn't squeeze through that fucking door. Oh. Uh-oh.
They're dead. Oh, that one's not dead. Oh, he morphed.
I put the battery inside the door because I assume that's where we're gonna need it.
Ow. Ow.
I am not up there yet, so you are in danger.
It's okay. They're dying. They're dead. Okay, where does this ladder lead
Should be inside, and then,
to?
oh
that's
fuck.
right.
There's a box on the roof. Ammo.
Batteries.
Nice.
We got a thingy.
It appears we do have a thingy.
Thank you, Bob.
Oh, fucking jeez. Drop. What is it? +2 rate of fire, -1 clip. That is the worst combo. It's like, you're gonna shoot your ammo faster, also there's less ammo. Oh. Uh-oh.
You say so.
What's coming? Something's happening. Oh, they got it. They're in here. Yep. You ain't running away, fuckface. Bro really tried climbing back through the window. Alright. Wait, no. We came from up the ladder. Oh, we're supposed to go back up the ladder? Odd. Scavenger bot has returned.
Top tier gameplay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just keep going back to where you came. These high winds.
Man.
It's not like I'm in a metal suit to keep me down.
Wonder how heavy this shit would be.
Right. My
Did-
hydraulic knees can't take it.
Man, did you hear that Wilder was talking about, he got tired from wearing that big ass suit or whatever before the fight? And that's,
No.
he said that's why he lost.
Tired from a big ass suit.
Yeah, that costume thing he was wearing.
You know, I guess that is how the grades go down.
Yep. The fuck kind of... I...
I feel like we might have to pop him.
This is one of those things where he's gonna turn into a monster. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. And then we're gonna kill him without hesitation.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'll see you later, you prick. You know? Earl Serrano. Dr. Earl Serrano.
The heat exchangers are powered up now, but the specimen isn't flowing. Is there something wrong with the mechanism?
Yeah. Wait, what? No. What the fuck?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Could you tell me what the fuck is happening when I do this? I can't tell.
Okay, now 4 just lit up.
Okay, so I assume we need all of them lit up then.
Right. It's one of those damn puzzles.
So let's see what. Oh, press it again.
That wasn't.
Oh, okay. So I do 2 here, and then we do 4. So we just gotta do it in the order that it says, I guess. And 1. And 4. And 1. And 2. We're almost there. And 4.
Overload the system.
3. Press it. Oh, it's a train. I don't think it's actually a train, but I have no fucking clue what that did.
Seemed like a train. I believed it.
They're still using steam trains in the fucking distant future
That
in
looks like a
space.
giant necromorph that were defrost.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're defrosting it, you know, gonna make it for dinner. Mom's gonna beat my ass if it's not defrosted by the time she gets home.
Did we get anything? Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I think we got some stuff.
Alright.
You'd love to see it.
Yeah, I don't see much of a point of doing any more tungsten torque bars if every time we do it, it's just gonna give us nothing.
Some boo boo canoe stuff.
Yeah. What fucking chapter are we on?
Last I remember, I think it was like 9.
Probe gun. Huh.
Modified telemetry spike. I have no idea how it works, but yeah. I think I can build it with the right parts. Where's the other warehouse?
I'll put the coordinates in your rig. It's likely to be marked on the tide. Here. I found these research passports when we arrived. Brought us into this warehouse. Maybe they will work for the other buildings as well.
Well, we'll find out.
Maybe.
Back soon.
I would not be so happy. And like smiling and shit. We're on a fucking planet full of dead people.
Why are we here?
Oh,
Just
I guess we go this way. Wait. What? We going back the fucking down the elevator? Apparently. Huh.
oh, you know, just rehashing sequences. You know, this dude's a real bitch.
Referred to a codex. She said it was the key to controlling the machine.
I don't even know what you see in this guy.
Just to make sure.
At least it won't have legs of it.
Yep, this is the right way. Alright. The amount that I sit there doing that in fucking Dead Space 1 is ridiculous. I just sit there going, oh, yep, okay, going the right way.
You just never know.
Yeah.
It's all a setup.
It's always fun when I accidentally roll. Oh. They're doing some shit. They're trying to turn themselves. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we fucked them before they could. In-game audio is quiet. Let me see if I can fix it.
That's actually perfect timing because my food literally just arrived. So this pause is amazing. Thank you whoever suggested the in-game audio. You're amazing. You're perfect. If it was Neko, that doesn't count.
It was Blaze. Alright, it's hard to tell whether it's like loud enough once I adjust it. Let's hope that's good. It's weird because last time it was like fucking super loud and then I turned it down to adjust. But like, yeah, I noticed it was quiet too, but it's like there's no master volume for some reason. I don't really understand it, but let me go grab that real quick. Summoning the ultimate necromorph. Ultramorph. Ultramorph. Hey. Oh yeah, give me that tungsten. The only thing with the Hammond one is that you can't put a lower on it. Conic dispersal. Huh. So it's just slower. Alright. I don't really want it, I just want to put it in the fucking box so I have one. It's kind of useless.
Back in action.
Alright. And time to do something. I don't know what else we're doing. It's the CBT gun. It fires fucking... It fires 3 spikes at them.
Looks like the path is up here.
All to the nuts. Uh-oh.
Hey! Is everything alright? There's a woman out there. Maybe we should go look for her.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit, am I seeing shit?
Apparently. Did you see something?
I saw a lady walking.
Oh.
No, I'm going crazy. I'm the figment of the imagination. Figment of imagination.
Oh, wrong way. You're really just, Oh, wait, what was that? Medpack.
I'm
You're
feeling
just-
my own being.
Yeah. You're just going through what Isaac went through. You know? Just having a mental breakdown and seeing, probably your wife.
I did just see a woman crying.
Yeah. Who did that?
Do what?
Who yelled? Who said, "Rawr!"
I didn't hear that shit.
He ran off to the left. I could hear it.
Do we subdue him?
He's got a gun.
Let's see.
Hey, what's up, Dark Sunrise? How you doing? Alright.
Let's see.
Apparently he didn't want to fight us. He just took off run. Oh, shit. Oh, God, it's the Raptor boys. These fellas are gonna dart at us.
This is Unit 6-9. We we have a couple of suspects on the run.
Couple of Raptor types.
He has a weapon.
He kind of got shredded real quick.
Target subdued.
You got a fucking rivet gun or something? What are you using?
It's like what is
It's
the?
the telemetry spike?
Yeah, I think it was that.
Okay, yeah. Then it's the rivet gun from the second game. I've got like this fucking AK/G36 thing going on.
Target subdued.
Like once in a while it on the reload it looks like some sort of fucking G36 or something. Oh fuck, shoot their legs! Haha. These things are a lot less scary than in the second game.
That hit fucking hurt though.
It does. There's a room in the second game when I streamed it where they were just all over behind boxes and I got stuck there like 3 fucking times. It was
That doesn't sound like a good time at all.
it was difficult. But then I just ran through it
Yeah.
because there were stasis bombs everywhere. And I just used them to launch at them.
At the end of the day, just fucking dip.
Yeah.
Just in case. Text log.
Captain's log.
There's no hose.
Oh,
There's no more hose.
they're talking about killing themselves.
At the end of these tasks, each group will consider their mission objectives complete and proceed to self-terminate. God bless
That's not very, not very good.
Jesus. If you're watching this and you haven't yet killed yourself, make sure you do so. Alright. Oh. Oh, raptors. Break their legs.
One on the left, one coming up ahead. Fast.
Always go for the sprinters.
Fuck your legs.
He's crawling. Oh shit. go. That's how we deal with them. I hear a thing. It is right here. All right. Another puzzle. Quote unquote.
Puzzle games.
Oh, God. It's so hard to move diagonally.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how the fuck do I go diagonal?
No. We probably both could have just gone across, but I didn't think about it until later. There we go.
We just kind of said fuck it.
Yeah, they did seem faster in Dead Space 2. Those fucking raptor bastards. Where you at?
Meth lab.
Whoa. Hey guys.
This is a big fucking
Whatever
meth
they were
lab.
experimenting on here. It looks like it got up and took half the warehouse with it.
Oh no! What about the sensor part?
Oh
Three
no.
pieces, right? Well, it's a long shot, but I'll take a look around.
Ugh.
Things are gone. Boo hoo.
Yeah, I was just waiting for that guy to say that over the fucking radio. Oh no, our thing's gone.
Oh no. Isaac fell off of a railing.
He really is just an asshole to be an asshole as a character. There's something down here. I'm gonna get smacked as soon as... Yep. Oh, it's gone. It just busted that window for no reason, apparently. The fuck? Where is this? Oh, there's another thing here. We getting the big caches. 1 of 3 probe parts found. Is this a number 2? Yep. 2 of 3 probe parts found. I'm guessing the last one will be with the monster. Wait, are you able to go over there?
I don't know. It looked like there was a gap. I was afraid.
Nope.
Nope.
Damn. Well, I guess we gotta go back up. Where's the third part?
Oh, EA, sending me to the same place.
Well, now it's telling me to go back down again. What the fuck? Oh. Oh. Oh shit, I gotta hold it up and you gotta go down there, I think.
Oh. Okay, ready.
Alright. Yeah, will it do anything? There we go.
Santos.
Can I let
think we got
go?
all the parts for the sensor.
Yep.
Excellent. Do you
Nice.
think you can reconstruct it?
I just need to find a bench and
How did your probe bike get all the way over here?
Shouldn't be too difficult.
He's just looking around. Just having a good search. Man, I've got 2 more assault, or no, not even. I got like, basically all I gotta do is get 1 more fucking assault rifle gold on Modern Warfare, but it's the worst fucking one.
Oh god.
Oh shit, Spider-Man's back.
It's the Spider-Man.
Oh shit.
You missed, bitch. Oh,
It's so much harder to see in this area. Like, oh god damn it. Got it. Shoot the face. And there we go. 2 more times or something like that. Sounds about right. Oh boy. You died fast.
he ripped me in half.
Were you healed?
Yeah, I was about like half health.
Huh. Oh boy. This rifle does some crazy shit. Oh.
Dude, what?
Well, I guess
Get up.
if he knocks you over, just spam the heal button, I guess. That doesn't seem like it's supposed to happen.
I'm running on top.
Alright, there we go. His face should open now. Run!
Run. Run.
Oh boy.
Now that roll worked.
Oh god.
Don't let him take you.
What is he doing? Oh fuck. No!
I healed.
Trying to shoot that thing, but he's blocking it with his legs. Oh fuck. There we go. Dumb fucking face. Uh-oh, I got stuck.
I was a wee bitch.
Oh boy.
That's another one off.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
There we go.
Show yourself.
Is he dead? Oh. Nope, not yet. Oh god. How many phases?
Come on, bro. What?
Oh.
What?
Guys, that beast thing keeps running away
God, we can't just catch a break. But if the sensor works, we will have the machine's location.
If this planet doesn't kill us first.
We'll find it. I'll be back soon.
Thing just seems like
Hey, anyone been out to check the armory?
No. Why?
seems like a real bitch.
That's what I thought.
I know, right?
Pulls up, attacks us out of nowhere, and then runs away.
You don't think Danik and his men are...
Little hoe.
But anyway, all I got now is I've got a few more things to do with the AK, and then I gotta work on the fucking FAL. That part's gonna suck. Oh wait, were we supposed to come through here?
Yeah, I was about to say good luck with that.
Uh-oh. I think we go back. I think we went the wrong way.
Restarts fight.
Oh god. I'd be pissed. Here we are.
Despite our every precaution, containment has become a necessity. It is now up to us to make the ultimate sacrifice for the safety of the
This is where we came from, though.
Ultimate sacrifice.
Oh fuck, there's a head crab.
100% compliance.
It grabbed me.
Therefore, the military army's final quarantine campaign divided into
Oh shit. Not today, friend. Oh. Huh. That one just leaped off the fucking ledge.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, was that a suicide?
He was chasing the body. What the fuck is that thing?
I don't know.
There's something coming, right? I fucking knew it. I was like, what?
There's something coming.
You just see a fucking red thing glowing through a wall. Oh yeah, it is February 29th. We won't see another one of these for 4 years. Really do wonder how that works with birthdays on documentation.
Oh boy. She's not my problem.
Okay, Isaac, I am done fucking around here. Danik has ships. We can take one, get out of here. If you care
know,
at
I mean-
all about Ellie, you will do this. For her.
Haven't you been paying
Shouts
attention?
out to
We're the only hope of
all
saving
my
our entire
4-year-old,
race.
16-year-olds out there.
Isaac, none. The best we can hope for is to survive and get the hell off this planet.
What the fuck is happening here? Oh, it's the wind.
The wind howling.
No, this wall. You see it?
Oh,
That's
I
a,
thought you meant the noise.
it's just like a really weird fucking stretching effect to try to simulate what it looks like when canvas gets blown by wind.
Just
Oh, we're back here again? And why can't we just jump the ledge?
why can't we jump anything?
Oh shit.
Oh.
That's why. They're going for the bodies.
Oh,
I told you, those guys killing themselves. They were going for it. Oh god, I'm getting attacked. There.
E2. The ultimate sacrifice, huh?
Yep.
You know, I guess we really, yeah, we did. And smash the. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
What?
I only heard like half of the last sentence there.
Oh, I was saying, we didn't follow our own advice, like you told me when it was to smash the bodies.
Uh-huh.
We didn't smash the bodies when we laid them out. But then again, I guess we didn't expect to come back here.
Yeah, that's true.
But now, you know, with it being the current trend of us going back to places, I guess,
Smash all of them.
smash them all.
Uh-oh. Oh shit, other way. Not today, you fucking head crab. Oh.
Okay, that's just cheating. You never pop up out of the ground like that. Oh, we're about to get thrown up on. Damn.
Told you. Freeze dry these motherfuckers.
Oh, nope, nope, not today, head spike. Not today. Hey, come back.
I hear a thing. Oh, I got an artifact by accident. Oh, I can't use my thing yet.
Accident. Okay, programmer.
Give me that.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Oh, thank God. Did you find all the Sentinel parts?
Yep, I'll use the bench down here to fabricate it. Hold on.
Hold
thank God.
on.
Thank God, huh, Ellie? Huh?
Yeah.
Thank God. You sound really into my boy.
Oh fuck, I gotta put one away. That's rough.
This is tough.
Well, now I've got it on. Do you also have to put it on?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that sucks.
Wow, this looks pretty lethal for science equipment. So what do I do with it?
The research center
Looks like a fucking pulse
scientists
gun.
readings internally. So,
Cannot be
I guess
modified.
we have to pry open
I
the
tried.
specimen's belly? Well, that would explain the harpoon guns.
Oh, good.
Huh. They said something about harpoon guns. I'm guessing one of us is gonna harpoon something.
Who's that? Don't worry about it. I can.
Huh. I tried.
Chapter 12.
Oh, there we are. Alright. I think we can go for like 30 more minutes or so. But
Sounds good to me.
oh. Huh.
Interesting.
And then we do it on the other side? Well, I guess we're a lot further than I thought. But I still feel like it gets longer towards the end. Oh, we press it here. Phew. Okay.
Isaac, you'll need to ride the cage out to the opening. Norton,
Of
can you
course.
help us?
Wow, you gotta be kidding me.
I'll save it. I'll go inside. I just need you to lower me down.
Yeah, whatever. Get in the cage.
Fuck you, Carver can stay up here and I'll go down. I don't trust this motherfucker.
Take out his fucking legs.
Yeah.
Enter the body cavity. I don't like that.
Oh, it's one of those missions where you go inside the guts. And we get to witness just the meat zone.
Straight meat.
Oh boy.
So Santos, how will this work exactly?
Use the gun sensor attachment to locate a nerve cluster. It should ping when you're close.
And then what?
Shoot a probe into it.
All right. Guess I just
My
aim the
telemetry
probe
will
and
light
follow
up
the
and will
ping.
have the location of the machine.
Doesn't sound too
Finally,
hard.
something simple, right?
Why is Isaac just...
Right.
Isaac just talked over her.
Talking to himself while people are talking to him.
It's like, alright, I guess I do what she's telling me to currently do.
Ugh,
Oh, this is gross. You know, I think we should end after we go through this area.
Okay.
Nothing. Need to find a stronger
Ugh,
signal
and it's
ping.
hot in here.
Ugh.
Like there's heat.
Ugh.
This was stolen from Halo 3, the Flood mission.
I don't know, is the flood mission this fucking squishy?
Yep.
Ugh. I don't remember it being. It probably was. I just.
It was god awful.
Ugh.
I hated it as a kid. That was the mission I was afraid of.
Ugh.
Nasty.
I just imagine walking all over the the lower intestines of somebody. That's what this is. We're walking all up in the meat. Sounds like lung juice.
Lung juice.
The fuck am I missing here? Oh, maybe we use this? The scanner bot thing? I just don't know how we're supposed to get anywhere. That's the only thing. Maybe this way. Oh yeah, it's gotta be this way.
Still nothing. There's gotta be an active node somewhere.
Oh, if you aim, it blips. Oh, we're getting further away. Oh, it's gotta be somewhere over there then. There's something coming. Oh shit.
Ow! It's Wendigos.
I'm gonna fucking freeze him. I can't because I'm aiming at you every time. God damn it. Make sure you heal.
I hear.
Oh. Behind you.
Goddamn Indian burial ground.
Isaac, are you all right?
This thing's got one hell of a defense mechanism.
Yeah, tell your
Did it
baby
work?
that we alright.
No.
We got
The
this.
signal is just a trick. I can't get a fix on any specific location.
All right. I'm gonna find another nerve cluster.
Yes, good idea. That should boost the signal.
Yeah, tell your baby to just leave that square who only knows how to control the elevator while you down here putting in work.
This is like when I eat Taco Bell.
That's problematic.
Oh, right here.
All right. Come on. Come and get me.
Come and get us.
Yeah.
No, it's just you here.
I want to get out of here.
I mean, your head, right?
Yep.
One more.
My vision's having visions.
Yep.
One more. That's what she says. Oh, right here. Oh, fuck. I'm having visions. That was actually, like, fucked up in my, like, eyes. Like, I couldn't fucking look at that. Jesus. That was, oh, man.
Hurt your eyes bad?
Oh, yeah, it did.
Why you on me?
Can we go in there yet?
I felt safe. In a confined location.
Oh, fuck.
Oh!
Not today. Goddamn Wendigos. They're living in a cave, too.
Right.
Oh, shit! Help!
Oh no! Got you.
Make sure you heal.
Get out of my cage.
Oh fuck, I'm gonna die.
We didn't have to hit dude's head like that.
Santos, please tell me you got what you needed.
Yes, thank you. It will take me a moment to sift through the data.
Fine. I'm gonna head back to the cage.
You already here, baby.
Ready when you are, Norton.
Norton! This is where we get abandoned.
No, he hit it.
Santos, we have a fix on the machine.
Yes. There are thousands of signals, all concentrated.
He knows
all
if he
the
didn't, we
planet
just come
surface.
back up, find another
That
way
must
up,
be it. There's an entrance further up
come
the
fuck him up.
mountain, the second dig site.
It's the shadow people.
Sheer cliff.
That's what we see in our
Santos and I will start
in our
setting up the base
nightmares, and out of the corner of our eyes is just
Can you make sure Isaac gets
actual
something?
scary Wendigos.
Sure. Sure, I'll take care of it. And Ellie,
It's not
Yeah.
real.
I love you. You know that, right?
What? Yeah, of course. Isaac.
Hmm. I don't trust this
Besides,
motherfucker.
this dude's name is Norton. He's named after computer antivirus.
He's named after it.
Yep. Everyone knows that the Norton antivirus came first.
Norton, open the cage.
No.
Oh,
What?
If you want to die here, now's your chance. I'm taking control of this mission again.
Hey,
what?
where you going?
I'ma shoot this motherfucker.
What?
Norton!
Huh.
Norton!
What?
Oh, good thing we got
Ellie,
kinesis.
Can you hear me?
Right? I mean, right?
Damn it. He jammed my signal.
What the fuck? Did we open it? Yep.
Yep.
What a dumb fuck.
I don't think he knows what we.
Blaze says, imagine screaming Norton during sex. That would be weirder is screaming his last name. He goes by his last name no matter what. Not by Robert.
Yeah, Norton is susceptible to Trojans.
I think this is where we're supposed to go.
To beat Norton's ass.
Yeah. I need health. I'm gonna go make some at the bench.
Do you think you're gonna like kill him during a vision?
That would be rough.
that just sounds like something Isaac would do to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I'm gonna put the weapon that I had before on, cause fuck that thing. And then I'm gonna craft some health packs. There we go. Uh-oh.
What's up?
I heard something move. There's something in the walls.
They're in the trees.
That's why we got the flamethrower.
Personal log, Dr. Earl Serrano. The name
Didn't we already click on that thing?
I think so.
Norton can't get the virus. He's always protected. Yeah, it said to go down that way, right? Yeah, it did.
We're gonna find out when we see him.
Alright,
I'll put a little cut on him and then mix him with some necky. how he likes that. Trap people in elevators.
Hold on. Alright. Ready?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
You wouldn't believe the trouble you saved me.
Nobody knows
Nice work.
the trouble I've seen.
What? Well, here he is. The marker killer, Isaac Clarke. And here we are. The marker homeworld.
Whoa.
You know, I must admit, I almost didn't believe such a place existed. But thanks to your friend, Norton, I finally found it.
Even more reason to kill him.
Shark's piece. Well, he is a bright one.
All he wants is Isaac. Carver, the rest of us can go home.
Deluded son of a bitch. You've got me.
Huh.
Let the others go. It's a very difficult thing, you know, undoing the damage man has done.
Oh, he's gonna shoot Norton. Guaranteed.
Corrupt. The markers had a plan for us, but we took
That's gonna
what
leave me
should have
very
been a
unsatisfied.
magnificent gift.
Yeah.
Converted it. Jesus, spares the bullshit. I've spent an entire lifetime trying to undo the damage man has done.
Wow.
Fighting EarthGov's
That dude
ongoing
to the
research,
right of him,
liberating the markers
it's like,
from those profane
how does he have the
testing
power to hit a
facilities.
figment of someone's
Now,
imagination?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy to me, unless he's also a figment of my imagination.
No, you promised me a ship, Danik. We had a deal.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
LOL, you called it?
Even one
Yep.
left alive. Apologies for misleading you, Captain.
Oh, nope. He forgets I was in a psych ward.
He forgets I was in a... It's true!
Yeah, I got the crazy strength. Oh, yeah, so hold up. Yeah.
Up, like, slowly like that?
Yeah, if you saw a fucking grenade right there, you'd be like,
You fucking jump or something.
yeah. Like, maybe I should get out of
Back
here.
up slow- Not only did he back up slowly, but like that grenade did like nothing to him.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Uh-oh.
Come on! Fucking kidding me?
Some kind of lobster. Oh, fuck. We gotta shoot the
Sucks.
hemorrhoids on its face. Oh, shit.
The fuck? That's cheating.
This is basically the final boss of Dead Space 1. Fuck. Shoot it in its
yellow,
chest.
right?
Yep. Oh god. Oh shit. Oh god.
That's a really big suck.
Oh, I'm out of heals. Oh my god. It's so hard to predict where they're gonna be.
Because it's so damn big.
Yep. Is he opening the chest yet? There it is. Oh god. Is it dead? Nope. Nope. Oh boy.
I fucking rolled back inside like a dumbass.
Oh. Somehow I got heals and I don't know how. Shoot the center, I think.
I think the center is right. Oh god.
Oh shit. That seems scripted.
That seemed like it was supposed to happen.
Yep.
I like how you went in, but I didn't.
I'm gonna get sucked through and you're just gonna be sitting there.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, hey, been in here for a couple minutes.
Yeah, a couple minutes before you.
Oh, God. Oh, yep.
I'm already there. This is fucking disgusting.
It really is. It's weird that his internals are basically just space. They got the same physics. Stop waving it around. Oh, there we go.
We did something right.
Intestinal fortitude.
Yeah.
That's why you don't swallow creatures.
That's why you chew.
Yeah. Otherwise they'll like shoot your little fucking glowing pustules.
You made us come down here. You encouraged her. Now look
The
where we
fuck
are.
did you kick me? What?
You're the
Asking for it? Like what? You got saved.
Yeah.
No, I tried to save us. You are the real problem here, Clark. Not anymore. Captain! Stand down, Sergeant. This is all your fucking fault. She doesn't talk here.
Well,
I think you had a choice.
did I? You sure?
Won't stay dead forever, not around here.
I just have this feeling that you maybe had a choice. I don't know. Like, it looked very choice-like.
I don't know, because it was like a quick time thing where I had to press the button a bunch to get steady. So it felt like I had to.
It just felt quite quick. I think that's what, I
Ah.
don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I got
Either way.
I got my picture back apparently.
Oh, your masturbator bitch. Make sure that crash again. It's for the greater good. It's for the greater good.
All right. Well,
For the greater good. You gotta burn it.
that's a good point. I got a freeze ray. Well, I don't think he's coming back now. I think we're good. He's got a weapon.
He's got a weapon. He has a ligament. Chapter 13.
Chapter 13. Reach for the sky. All right. Well,
I feel like that was a proper,
place to stop. Yeah.
yeah.
After we kill him and beat his fucking body.
Mutilated body.
Oh wait, yeah, that's a good point. Blaze says kick his body to the edge. Let's see if he's still out
That's what
there.
I was trying to do, but it wasn't moving anymore. Like he froze it to the ground.
Damn it. Let's see. Maybe we can. Oh, yep, we can. There he goes. He's yeah. Now what you said about him you know, not staying dead for long, that's not possible anymore. He's just gone.
I'm just saying, T'Challa came back in Black Panther after he fell off the ledge.
Yeah. Yeah, but did he have a head and limbs? So I think that's important.
Fair.
Oh, there's a scav spot out there, though. I'm gonna put this down at least out there. There we go. Uh-oh, I froze.
I was like, why is yours stuck?
I was just like thinking about what just happened and shit. It's like, oh shit.
You had a vision.
Alright. Well, good time. I think we're gonna end it then. Well, everybody, have a good night. I don't know what we'll stream tomorrow. I might, maybe Minecraft. I think that's what we did last week. Maybe I went to sleep last week, I don't remember. Regardless, we might do like Minecraft or something tomorrow. It's always fun. So, yeah. Have a good night, everybody. And,
Good night, friends.
yeah. We'll see you later.
Bye.